we've been doing a couple of webinars in the evenings, particularly around the year end, just to kind of set the scene. I think we had the first one we had, which had a really good response, was when we talked about how to first is how much it costs to get to educate your children. We had that seminar about the cost of education overseas, and basically what we worked out to how much you needed to save a month to achieve, for example, UK education, a local private university education, and so on. So we got to that stage. The second time around, I think what we did with then we said, how do great, thank you for telling us about, thank you, Malek, for telling us how much we need, but how do we invest for it? I mean, meaning, because you can't put money in FD and hope that it will, at 1.8% or 2%, you can get those kind of, like, you can save up for a children's education. You can't. You need to invest it. And then the next question was, how do you invest it? And in that session, we had something for, I guess, for people who are new to investing. And we brought along Wai Ken Wong, who was the country manager for Stashaway in Malaysia. And Wai Ken and Ken kind of like showed us how you could do it through something called robo advisors, where you don't have to really worry about the details of investing. It's almost like a Amanah Saham, but for people who cannot qualify for Amanah Saham, right? They create an asset allocation for you, and then they look at your goals, and then you kind of like park a certain aside amount to achieve your goals. And then I guess now we've got to the third part of the series is essentially about it's about now that that's the investing thing. How about, what do we do at the end of the year, right? I mean, it's a brand new year ahead. As we said just now, 2020 was it was an annus horribilis, as the Latin, people who speak Latin will say it, a horrible year for a lot of people. But on the other hand, there's also silver linings in the sense of like what Linnet was referring to just now. So I think the idea is about sort of how do we start on a good footing on 2021. And so for that, today we have with us, together with me, I hate doing webinars alone. So I always would like to have a co-conspirator, and a co-conspirator who has always been with me since I think all throughout the pandemic time and all that. Either wearing my hat with BFM, it's Linnet.
Yes.
Yeah, Linnet Lee. And Linnet is the CEO of the Financial Planning Association of Malaysia. Very experienced in sort of obviously in, or not just sort of advising people about their personal finances, but also sort of going through it herself, with her own child, and also with her own personal finances. So thank you, Linnet. Thanks very much for joining me this evening. Okay, so let me just open up. And I think now we can just, you don't have to share the screen anymore, Felicia. And now we can just open up by asking Linnet, I guess, today we're talking about, putting yourself on a good footing for 2021. And we'll talk a little bit, a big part of it is about sort of, knowing your finances, and knowing your finances is about budgeting. But before we get into budgeting and actually having a workshop on it, we'll be showing how to do a budget and so on. But actually, before diving into the nuts and bolts of budgeting, can I just ask? I mean, what do we do at the start of the year or around this time? What should we do when we're thinking about 2021? Should we think about our goals, and how do we think about what we want to achieve for 2021? Financially.
People used to talk about resolutions.
Yes.
But resolutions are normally, after a few months or sometimes even 2 weeks. Like for example, gym, people sign up for gym membership and they say, oh, I'm going to be very, very fit next year. But along the way, maybe the first week you go gung-ho, you go and then you call your friend and you say, look, and you show pictures. Then after that, when workload comes in, and then it dwindles, and eventually you don't even show up at the gym. Your gym instructor cannot even remember what you look like. So for us, in financial planning, we don't have resolutions, but we say we have goals. And likewise, goals also sometimes suffer the same fate. So that's why when Malek asked whether we wanted to do this, whether I wanted to do this workshop with him, I said yes, because we would like to show you that it is really easy to do it, and it's also really easy to stick to it as well. All it needs is just a little bit of gumption and a little bit of planning, and now with technology, it is so much easier. So some of you may have already put aside money for some things that you want in life for this year, and there was a setback because of the pandemic. So it's a good time to pull out that sheet if you have and relook at it. If you don't have, also okay, take out a blank sheet and you start writing down what are the things that's most important to you, goals in life that you want to achieve. Now, goals is not just about what you want. That's not good enough. There's a wish list, but wish list gets lost along the way like resolutions. So if you want it to stick in your brain, the most important thing is you must write down maybe 5 things that is important to you, and then you re-looked at it and say, okay, these are 3 things here, so that it's not so daunting. It's like the lion tried to chase 5 rabbits and they end up catching none. So you got to target what you want, and once you have done that already, then for goals to become a reality and for it to be realized in this year, you need to make it more granular. Exactly what you want, how much that you want, by when do you want it. It doesn't matter. Be brave about it, because you'll be surprised when you put your mind out and you write it down exactly how much you want and the date that you want it. And I'm going to go with something, it's not hocus pocus, but I believe it's true. If you believe in the law of the universe, it will somehow arrange things so that your things will go your way. You'll be surprised. Yes, Angelina, I saw yes, it works. It works every time. So you have to put your heart and soul into it, and then things will come your way. It will make it very easy. But you have to start it. You have to write down what you want, by when that you want, and who can help you, and you leave it to the universe. Of course, you have to do some work also lah, because if not, the person comes along and then you just sit down there and do nothing. So you must grab the opportunity when it comes, right?
Okay.
Mm.
So what we're going to do now, I'm going to ask you for an example of your goal.
Yeah.
What's your goal for, I'm sure you have a medium-term goal and so on. Let me start with mine, right? I want to pay off my home mortgage but in 2 years' time. So the balance of one of my investment properties, I want to pay it off by 2 years' time. So that's my goal for the 2 years. I break it down to one. So when I break it down to one, I have to say, okay, you know what? I have to, I have this fund that I'm actually investing, so I can pay off the mortgage in 2 years' time. So this funds need to I've allocated the sum for my financial goal for 2021 is to make sure that I keep that fund in a positive territory, earning good returns, etc. To get so I can by 2 years' time I can get it done. What is your goal for 2021?
For me?
Yes.
Okay. I want to show you example.
Okay.
Then
all
after that, if time permits, I'll show you my 2016 list, my budget, so that you can see real life. Okay. It doesn't look like the nice ones that Malek is going to show you. Okay. I'm going to share screen for a little bit, but before I share screen, I just want to set the stage first. Assuming that I'm someone who wants to save up for my child's education, and in 10 years my child is going to university, and I'm looking at something that will be able to give me 300K so that I can send my daughter to a local private university. So and I'm aiming to have maybe 6% per annum. So I need to see how long and how I can do it. Now what I'm going to show you is a calculator which you can use online, and I'm going to show you how to use it. It's a financial calculator. So let me just call up my share screen.
Whilst Linnet does that, can I ask if you are, if you're on the chat group, to put on the chat, what are the kind of things, what goals do you have, either medium term that you're trying to achieve in the medium term, and how it breaks down to 2021. So feel free to put on chat group. So.
Okay, so This is a calculator.net. It's a free calculator you can use. You can see my screen, am I right? Yes? Okay, great. So now, financial calculators are a little bit different from your normal calculator. So that's why I wanted to explain to you so that you can use this calculator for your other goals in life as well. Okay, now if you look at N, number of periods, you say, what is that? Okay, now in this case, because I said that I wanted to save 300,000 in 10 years, and I want to put a savings in every month. So what I do is 10 years, I divide by 12 months a year. That's how I get 120. So the number of periods here, I put there as 120. Now, I have a savings, I have a base savings of 10,000. So I put it as 10,000. Now, you will be saying, hey, Linnet, you said 6%, but why do you put 0.5? A lot of people forget because you don't get 6% every month. You're saying 6% for 1 year. So you divide your 6%, you divide by 12. So you look at 0.5%. And then, so I want to find out, okay, how am I going to be able to achieve? So I key in a sum of money until I say, hey, not bad, at 2,000 per month, if I save, I am able to achieve 347,000. Not bad. 300,000, I got another 47,000 for extra. Or maybe I can pocket it and go for holiday when my daughter graduates. I don't know, it's better to have more than less. So that's how you use this calculator. Now, I'm going to show you if, let's say I have a shorter period. Let's say I only have, let's say I have 100 months to save, okay? So I press 100 months and then I press calculate here. And as you can see, I'm short. I'm only 276. So I said, oh, so 2,000 is not enough. Then maybe I need to change here. Maybe I put 2,000, 2,000, maybe 200, let's say. And I press calculate. And then I'll wait and see. Oh, okay, not bad. You see, I have to put an extra 200 ringgit and I can hit my target already. So this calculator is free. You can use it. I've used it and I find it very useful. Okay, so this is how you would use a financial calculator, and you can use, and it's got a lot of other calculators here. Within here, there's mortgage, there's loan, there's amortization, retirement planning. You can use that. All right, if you want to DIY, but if you want a more accurate one, and Malek, I'm going to say this, please talk to a licensed financial planner. You cannot talk to me because I'm not the one. I gave up my license already. But once upon a time, I used to hold a license. So I actually show my clients this also, so that if they want, they can play around with the calculator, and then sometimes they come back up to me and they say, Linnet, this is what I want and this is what I'm aiming for. So I'm quite happy when they take an interest and they actually use the calculator and come and tell me what number they want. Okay, yep. So that's it for this one. Malek, do we need to move on, or do I have time to?
One more example. If you are talking about, say like me, right? You have a mortgage and you have, say, 100,000 left, right? What I just need to do, the other example is that I need 100,000 left. So actually, that's something that, supposing that I need 100,000 to be paid in 2 years, over and above, like, my monthly mortgage payments. That means I just go to annuity. The period is 24, right? And I have to get 100,000, and I'm starting with 10,000, and so on. And how much do I have to put aside each month? I think I'll come up with a figure, right? So I think that's the way it does. Okay, great. So now let's go back, and I think so. That's a fundamental point. I think once you have a goal, then you can translate it into what you need to do like what you need to do next year, right? As you said, it becomes very, very, it's really down to, like, you need to save 2,000 ringgit a month.
So yes, Malek, and that amount will come into your budgeting.
Yeah. Because
that's the amount you need to save for your children's education.
That's right. So that's what I want to leave people here with before we dive into the budgeting. Basically, when you use a financial calculator, you get to a point where you know how much you need to put away a month. Then now the question is, how do you create the environment, or how do you create a budget so that you can put away that 2,000 ringgit or 1,000 ringgit a month for that goal of yours. Okay. So before we do that, if I could ask, I would actually share my screen now, and I'll show a video, a short introductory video on the sort of the key elements of budgeting. And I think Chun, you might have to do it because I'm disabled. Felicia, can you enable me? Or Chun, can you play the video? Chun, since you're co-host, why don't you play the video? Chun? Chun's a colleague of mine. Oh, I'm the co-host now. Okay. All right. So here I go.
In case Chun is not there.
All right, we'll do. So let me just get to my Google Chrome. And let me just go to the video. Here we are. Can you see my video? No, right?
Yes, can.
Okay, that's the video part. All right, great. Fantastic. Let's play. There's a play.
Budgeting basics. Budgeting and spending plan. In financial planning, it is important to prepare a budget. True, living according to a budget requires a lot of discipline, but it helps you to live within your monthly income, keep aside money or savings, reach your financial goals, prepare for financial emergencies, develop good financial management habits with regular checkups of your cash flow and net worth. Considerations in preparing your personal budget. When you prepare your personal budget, refer to your financial goals. Compare your budget to your financial goals to see whether or not you are achieving them. For example, if you have targeted on putting down a down payment to buy a car in 1 year, make sure you do monthly checks to ensure you are keeping money for your financial goals. Preparing your personal budget is not the end of the process. You need to monitor your actual expenditure every day, especially where your money is going. Another term used for this is managing cash flow, which is the actual inflow and outflow of cash during a given period. To prepare a successful budget, remember, be patient and disciplined. A good budget takes time and effort to prepare. Do not give up because you feel that there is too much to do. Be realistic. If you have a moderate income, do not expect to save a lot of money in a short period. Be flexible. There will be unexpected expenses and changes in the prices of groceries and other items. Revise your budget when needed. Set aside an amount of money to enjoy yourself. You may want to have a night out with friends or to watch a movie. Remember, a budget will work only if you follow it. How do you prepare your personal budget? Estimate your income for the budget period. This covers your salary, commissions, allowances, and other sources of income. Put aside at least 10% of your income for your savings. 20 to 30% of your income as savings will be better because you are creating a bigger pool of money for your future retirement. Put aside some money for your emergency fund. Estimate fixed expenses for the budget period. These are expenses that must be paid or spent and include house rental, loan installment payments, credit card payments, and insurance premiums. Estimate variable expenses for the period. These cover items such as petrol, groceries, electricity, and water bills. Estimate discretionary expenses. An example for items that you can choose whether to spend or not to spend. They include gifts, hobbies, entertainment, and holidays. Total cash received during the period minus total cash outflows during the period equals cash surplus or cash deficit. Your most important inflow is probably your income from employment. You may, however, have other sources of income, such as a business income and interest earned on savings and investments. Outflows would be living expenses, loan repayments, and other financial commitments. If you have a cash surplus, that is fantastic. Put the money away in your savings. However, if you have a cash deficit, take another look at your spending. Try postponing any purchases or payments for the time being. Try not to use your emergency fund unless it is absolutely necessary. Use your credit card as a last resort, as using it will only add towards expenses for the coming months. In preparing next month's budget, base it on the balance brought forward from the previous month. Make sure you review and revise both your budget and spending plan regularly. If you need to cut down your spending, look at expenses that you can do without. A good idea is to take a look at expenses involving food and entertainment. You may even have to revise your financial goals if some of these are not realistic in relation to your monthly income.
So yeah, so that's a good summary of the high level part of budgeting. I think the interesting, just for everyone's benefit, this is actually, it comes from the smartfinance.my website. It was a website done by FPAM, Financial Planning Association of Malaysia, really to kind of like, they have lots of videos there. So if you are looking for specific topics, a great resource there for for explanations, simple explanations of all variety of things. And this was one of the one I found very useful, just to give about a high level about budgeting. I've just put the link on the chat right now, so you can access it there. So I think, and Wendy has a question here which says, how do you categorize the money that we set aside for parents, fixed expenses? Yeah, so I actually have an allocation there in the budget. So it is fixed expenses, and because you're not giving them a commission on your salary, but well, maybe some parents think like that, but I think we also need to actually allocate for these things, and I will show in a minute the kind of like things that that sometimes hits us out of the blue, right? I mean, like, wedding ang pao can be quite expensive. You go to 5 weddings, that blows a hole through your budget. So this year everyone's happy, no weddings being organized. So you save on the ang pao. But I think one thing interesting about the video, Linnet, is that you actually, usually when even when I use, I must admit, I use a Google template for doing this budget. I worked off it first and then amended it. But for them, it's like savings and emergency funds all at the bottom of the spreadsheet, right? You actually, in that video, you put it at the top, meaning you put your savings first, towards your goal, and then you talk about your other expenses. Why is that?
Well, in financial planning, if you really want to hit your goal, you need to minus your expenses and your savings first. Then whatever is left is what you can spend. And Malek, in real life, if you do that, you transfer all this money out and you put it somewhere else in another bank, and you leave all the money that you can spend in one bank, you find that it's so easy because you can happily spend. The only thing you need to watch is the bank account. If it's going down, and then you say, okay, this is week 3. Okay, week 3, if it's 1 quarter, I'm still on target. But if it's lower than 1 quarter, then you have to start stinging for that week so that you have enough. So it's really that easy. And I've been doing this all these years. Yeah. So yeah.
What we basically is set up separate accounts for your savings.
Put it away. It's very simple. If you can pay off your premium by doing auto debit, if you can pay off your car loan by auto debit, what's wrong with putting your life goals in auto debit as well?
Yeah.
After a while, you get used to it.
Yeah, great. I mean, so that's a great way of just allocating and then auto debiting it, so that you don't have to worry about it. Whatever's in your bank account is what you have left, right? So there you go. So here now is the time. I think it's a good thing to just sort of I'll share screen again to basically look into the budget itself. Right? So here's a budget spreadsheet, and copyright, no copyright. It's Google. Google actually has this as a template. I just amended it to suit Malaysian circumstances. And as you can see, and you will get this. You will get the link to the spreadsheet. To this spreadsheet, you can't amend this one, but what you can do is you can download it or put it on your own Google Drive. And then what happens is then you can edit it yourself, but you need to download it first. So just to say, this is the spreadsheet. You can it says here only edit highlighted cells. So therefore, essentially there's 2 sheets in this document. This is what we call the summary, right? And if you can see, there's no details entered. And when you get the spreadsheet, you get something like this, completely all zeros. So that is for you to enter. And the idea is that essentially you put your budget here, and notice saving for your financial goals is an emergency fund is the top. I amended it, so it's the top 2 of your of your so-called expenses. It's not an expense, but let's classify it as kind of like the expense line, so that you can auto debit that amount straight away. So I guess in Linet's example, if in the example, if you have to put 2,000 away for your children's education a month, this put under plan 2,000. An emergency fund, let's say an emergency fund. I think Linnet, can you explain a little bit what emergency fund's all about?
Okay, emergency funds is used not for buying cars, not for buying clothes. Those are not emergency. Although it's nice to think of it that way, but it's like if your car gets stolen, you still have to pay your car installment, but you have no car to drive and you know you need a car. So the emergency fund would come in useful to put a down payment for a car. So these are soft emergencies. Or like Malek earlier, you said that those days you had a car, you're very happy with it, and then suddenly you need a repair and the bill came with 3,000 and hit you between the eye because you did not have any emergency money. Correct. So this is what the emergency money is used for.
Yeah, and during pandemic times, this emergency, people who had emergency funds actually were used it for, essentially tiding them over,
pay cuts,
a certain period of unemployment. It comes in very, very useful around this time, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we have Wendy, who said that this is one of her goals, is to create an emergency fund. And I guess, Wendy, the way that we want to think about this is, let's put, instead of having the emergency fund as an afterthought, like below all the expenses, let's put it at the top. Meaning, whatever that we have, we'll just say, okay, you know what, by hook or by crook, I'm going to have an emergency fund of so much, right? So that's the idea of this, so that you put all, you don't consider it as like an option. It is something that you do it for sure. Mm-hmm. In your experience, when in the days when you were a licensed financial planner, what were the things that really hit people when they were doing expenses? What were the main unexpected expenses? So we have here, for example, first you have what we call as I said, your savings, and then we have, what I've done is also classify generally your fixed expenses, right? It's your mortgage, or if you're renting, is your rent. Car installments is generally fixed. Insurance premiums are generally fixed. I hope you don't have many loans, but sometimes we do have sometimes personal loans, as a student loan, etc. So those are fixed installments. So I guess this row here, all this is really fixed, and that's quite easy to do. You can just say, all right, my home, I know it's like 2,000. My car installments is 800. So insurance premiums is 300, and other fixed installments I have none. Okay. But then I guess we get to this point where we have groceries, and these are more like, it goes up and down, depending, right? How do we kind of like, do we kind of like look at our receipts or like just guess like, oh, I think I spend so much. What can we do to give greater accuracy for things like, things like this, groceries, personal care, etc.?
You need to set the budget and you stick to it. Simple as that. Yeah. So I'm very quickly, there was this client of mine, ex-client of mine. He said that he had no money to save, but he had goals he wanted to achieve. So he says he has to earn more money, but he's so busy. So I told him, I said, let's sit down and work out your budget. So I gave him something similar to that. He filled it all in, and I bulked at it because every night they go out and eat as a family. And each time they go out and eat, it's 300 ringgit average, between 200 to 300 ringgit. That's a lot of money. So I told him, I said, can you cut down and eat maybe twice a week instead of 5? And that's what he did. And he said, voila, he's got money to save. So this is what I meant, because you can actually go overboard on that. Prosperity Burger just came back, and I'm telling myself I must bring my father there. So you could, if you didn't budget for it, you have bust your budget. So food is one of them.
Yes, that's right. And I guess even within the grocery segment, I think when you look at, when you're buying, when you're buying cereals or something, you can, maybe you don't buy the top-notch cereal, that is Kellogg's, which is so expensive, right? You can buy, other forms of cereals, and just a little bit goes a long way. I think there's other things like personal care, health and medical. Hopefully you have I think it's very
insurance.
So that will come under the insurance premiums, hopefully, but there might be the clinic visits, etc. I think we can generally just do an estimate for that, right? And so on. And I think, so these are the things, and there are a lot of discretionary things. For example, I think, as you say, this one, Linnet, you mentioned eating out, or now ordering in, if you can cook, sometimes my kids want to order in. I say, no, sorry, we're eating at home. We're cooking from home because it's one third of the price of ordering in. And I guess this one is quite easy to do this year. Entertainment, you can cut down on entertainment. Maybe we spend it on digital lifestyle a little bit by subscribing to Netflix. There you go. And we really save on this one, right? Vacations, etc. And here was someone who said something about, I'm not sure whether it was Wendy who said something about allowance fixed expenses. And yes, I think we need to create, sort of whatever, if it's 500 or and so on, we need to put allowance either to parents, or in my case, it's to my children, right? I give them sort of the equivalent of about 200 ringgit a month, right? For the expenditure. So, and then this one, I guess, don't forget your ang paos, sorry, duit raya that you have to give, not the one that you receive. And so on. And what I've done here for everyone is just you can put your own category as well. You can actually amend this and say, oh, okay, you have your own category, which is, I don't know, sort of allowance. Okay, let's do a controversial one, alimony. Okay. Your maintenance support for your spouse. You're the career woman and you have to pay for alimony to the husband of yours, ex-husband of yours. So there you go. So you can do that too. So what do we get when we do that? I think what happens is, I'll show you just show you an example that I did beforehand, so that I can pre-fill a budget plan. So let's just say, this person, a dual income couple, they also have, sorry, I forgot just to mention this now, salary side. You can put in the salaries quite easily. So dual income couple, both of them earn 4,000 net salary of 4,200 a month. The wife gets a $200 allowance from the company, no bonuses this year, etc. No dividends, etc. So their basic net salary income is 8,400. And then what happens is that, when they do the budget, they get, this is the budget that they have. They're saving for their financial goals. They have an emergency fund, and so on. So I've done just an example of a planned budget, right? So you can enter all this beforehand. I think if you have, most of us have I think I have a good idea about all the fixed expenses. I have sometimes the variable expenses are the ones that get me sometimes, and maybe we need to keep receipts for a month, or look at our credit, look at our sort of our debit card or e-wallet bill, and just have a look, how much are we spending on things, and then put in a budget for that. So that's when you put the budget. You might want to put at this portion here, your starting balance, and we're talking here about your current account, the account that you use to pay off your expenses and your mortgage and everything else. This is the account where your salary goes into. If you put the starting balance there, then you have a good idea about, so you can see the starting balance and the planned ending balance for that. If you have zero savings and you have zero saved this month. Now, after the month has gone, I think it's a great thing to do. Now I'm showing another budget where I just just made some just put some actuals for this couple, and let's see what it looks like. So what happened for this couple? So they started out with 15,000 in their operating account, where their salary comes in, and they plan. We remember just now we put on the plan budgets, and then what they do on this page, and I need to get to the page. Sorry, I can't get to the bottom of the page. A second. Here we go. There's a second page on this where you can actually enter your transactions. Let me show you what that means. Here, you can actually, this page is designed so that whenever you create an expense. So for example, this one, remember we said about, sort of transferring to for your savings. So I say here, transfer to your fixed deposit, and then this is under, and then you categorize it saving for your financial goals, right? And then this one, this is for your emergency fund. Transfer to a separate savings account. You need access to it. So generally you want it to be a liquid account, not so much an FD account. But again, you can classify it as emergency fund. And your housing loan payment, you can enter like 1,000, and then you say, okay, this is for my home rent. So you can choose a category here, and so on and so forth. As you go through the month, you can enter all that. And income, this one's easy. Hopefully you get paid around the same time every month, and hopefully is kind of like fixed thing. And then what happens is that all these numbers will then, when you go to the summary, it just gets translated to summary here, right? So if you notice, say for example, if I change my savings, just say I have a big problem with I have a big Christmas present this month, so I put 1,000. Let's say, what happens is the numbers will change. Look down here, 1,000. So then you're minus 800. So that's the idea. Basically, you do your planned numbers here, and you do the But then as you actually spend, you enter it in this in the second sheet. And that's what happens, and then you get a summary. Then we can look what happens. Generally, at the end of the month, what it would say is that, all right, actually you did well. You planned to spend 8,006. Your income was planned to be 8,006 as well, to match it because you have savings allocated towards it. Your actuals was actually lower than that, is 7860. You saved 740 this month, and therefore your balance is now, where is it? Your balance is now 15,000. Your start balance is 15, and your end balance is 15,740. And then you call this, you can call this your January monthly budget, and then you just set up the same spreadsheet, but call it February monthly budget, and you start all over again. And so and that's pretty much. I mean, we will be giving you the access to this spreadsheet over on the drive. We'll give you a link, but the important thing is that you can't change this particular one. What you need to do is to download this spreadsheet to your own either Google Drive, or just download it as an Excel spreadsheet on your computer. So let me stop sharing and answer some questions, if anything else. All right, so there's some questions here. JH. So how about taxes and items which are tax deductible? You said, if you're Linnet, you had an answer for that, right?
And Christine also have an answer for that.
Yeah.
For that as well.
Yeah. So the good news, I think the most important thing is to use a net salary here. Don't use the thing. And hopefully your net salary generally, generally in terms of taxes, what's your experience, Linnet? In terms of taxes, by the time you claim for your reliefs and everything, do you generally get a tax refund, or generally get a tax, you have to pay more taxes?
It depends, but for me, through my lifetime, I've always I get rebates.
You get rebates, right?
I get rebates, yeah. So what do I do with my rebate? I actually put it into my investment account. So I actually have an account where salary comes in. I have another bank account, which is where all my expenses goes to, and away from all these two accounts, I have one more, which is actually my investment account. So whatever savings, whatever extra money that I have, like sometimes I do training, I get paid for it, that's outside my day job, I will plonk it in there, because then what I will do is I will use that money to invest for my retirement. That's my retirement fund.
Okay. And I think to a certain extent, you've answered Jay's second question, which is to say, what he meant is, do we register items that are tax deductible under both income and expenditure? And I guess what we're saying is that, no, you don't register it under income. you just register it under expenditure.
Yes.
When you get the tax rebate, right, then you can consider it as an only then when you get the cash in your hand, you plunk it into your bank account. Then you can enter it as then even better. Don't just bypass your operations account and go straight into your savings account, right? And go straight into
Yes.
your FD. So what we're saying is it's just an expense. It's not an income. Just put it inside a savings route. Thank you, Chun. That's very helpful. What do you do with $740? Actually, I think that's a serious point. What do you do with $740? I guess it depends on you. The more prudent among us will say, you know what, I'm going to put that 740. I would do this, right? I would say I'll divide it into, like, okay, 2/3 I'll put inside the into my the FD account or the savings account that I have to add to my savings. I enjoy 250 a bit. Enjoy a little bit of my reward or fruit of my labor of my thing. I'll enjoy it a little bit. So 250 is a night out or 2 nights out with my wife, with family, right? So that's a way of doing it. You know, kind of like put ratio 2 to 1 lah. You know, two back in, 1 keep, and so on. SY, is there a rule for how much one should set aside for fixed and discretionary expenses? Earlier video said that we should aim to save 30%. What do you say, Linnet?
Actually, it depends, because if your income is on the higher side, then you have that luxury to save 30%. If your income is not that high and you cannot make it, it doesn't matter. It's better to put aside some money, even if it's only 50 ringgit, it's better than nothing. Because as and when your salary grows, you can always increase that amount, because you are not going to set your budget and cast it in stone. You've got to review it on an annual basis, or if you have some changes, then you could jolly well be even once in a year you might want to do a review.
Okay.
So yeah.
Wendy asks again, can you give some examples what is deemed as emergency in order to use emergency fund? Medical, car breakdown, any others?
Yes. Sometimes it could be that family members need money, especially parents. Then you may want to pay for something for them. Like, for example, I had to buy a wheelchair for my mom. So I use my emergency money actually to pay for it. So these are things that that unforeseen circumstances. Loan a sister of yours some money for a short term. She says she'll pay you back. So you don't have to touch any of your expenses, budgeted expenses, no, but you can use the money from emergency fund. Okay.
Those are very real examples. I have colleagues who, who are always their siblings, has a small car accident, and they have to like pay for a bit of the medical and so on. So all these things, this is life, lah. Things happen, right? So, so we just have to deal with it. Okay, Linnet. So if I think that's basically the budgeting side of things. Is what has been can we go through I'm not sure whether you have time to kind of like go through yours. What are your financial goals for 2021 and so on. So I think thanks, Angela. I know Angela. Hi Angela. Thanks for joining us. If you own property, she says you may need some money aside for bigger repairs. You're right. That damn leaky roof.
That one is actually, if you want to budget, then under your budget you put it under sinking fund. Then you don't touch your emergency money. It could be to buy a fridge that spoiled, yes. But those days I used to have a sinking fund for to repaint my house, to repair my house. I followed what the property management people do. I set a sinking fund for myself. So yeah. I can. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show my own budget, but I haven't done my 2021 budget yet, because I told myself that I am going to use back my existing budget, because next year is going to be a tough year. So I will just relabel it 2021. But I'll just show you I'll just show you my share screen. Now let me see, I've opened it. Okay. This is a sneak preview. This is a spreadsheet that doesn't look as organized as what uh, embarrassingly, for a financial planner. But this is what I've been using for ages, and I'm still continuing to use it. So as you can see, this is back in 2016. The reason why I wanted to show this one is because I have my child's education. My daughter is already grown up. She's now in Australia. So it's okay already. But I had insurances. Then I had my daughter's education. Now, why you see zero is because my sister is in Australia and she wants to give money to my parents. So what I did was I told her, don't do the exchange rate. You put the money and you give to my daughter who's in Australia, and I will pay mom from here. So that's what I did. So we save on exchange rate. And also, when my daughter started working in Australia, I still continue to do that. I say, you put the money there, who knows, maybe I want to go to Australia and retire, at least my money is in Aussie dollars. So I have parents. Somebody asked about how much you should give parents. Don't look at a percentage, just look at what you can afford. And if you need to upgrade, you upgrade when you can afford, because don't follow what your friends are doing. Don't go broke because of that. I think what is important is you must have a balanced budget, which means if you look at the end of it, after all these things, I have emergency months. I tell myself it's 3 months, it's 8K times 3, 3 months, and then I have car installment. Back then, my car installment is paid up. Actually, I'm debt free. I'm very happy. Paid off my house, paid off my car. So I had an allowance for aged relation. All right. And then I have miscellaneous. This is my discretionary. I have holidays with my daughter. I save 500. I still do now, because when my daughter, we want to meet up after the borders are open, we're going to go for a holiday. We promise ourselves. Right. So as you can see, I have my quick rent and assessment I put aside. I have my annual ones, so I put there net monthlies, because what I put here is annual, and then I have a formula to make it into monthly. So Chinese New Year, yes, I do have that too. Special occasions, these are my Chinese New Year ang pao kueh. I even have a spreadsheet for my Chinese New Year, and that one translate into how much I have. This is the amount annually I spend, and this is how much I save per month. I use 10 months, because then when Chinese New Year come, 2 months before Chinese New Year, I can take out the money and use it. Birthdays, I even tell myself 10 family members at 150 ringgit each. So if I have only 8, then the others will benefit more. Same with friends. So that's why I say, this is what I could afford then, and this is what I'm using. So I hope you can see. So when I look at, after I spend, I still have a balance of 84 ringgit. Now I actually expanded my budget a little bit more. I have annual payments, which, you know, all those Chinese New Year things that I have to pay annually, I put it all in here. I total it, and this is the money I put into FD, into my savings account. And then my house installment is paid up, so it's not there anymore. This one is to pay for my service charge, which I still have to pay. So it came out from my CNB account, which is actually my investment account. Alliance is my salary account. So I still keep some money in there, because sometimes I need to pay for expenses for work expenses. So yeah, that's how my budget looks like. Okay, I'm going to unshare.
Yes.
This is real life, and I still use it.
And I may have to like edit the video so that, you know, you don't tell the whole world about it. We only tell this special 20 people, 25 people.
Yes. That's their privilege for tuning in, right?
Okay, great. Are there any questions by anyone else? Otherwise, I will wrap up and just say, hey, thank you, and just pass you the spreadsheet links and so on. So
yes. Okay.
all good. All right.
All
so
good.
Fantastic. Wish everyone fantastic new 2021. You know, it's been a rough and tumble 2020, but I think there are lots of learnings from 2020. I think we all learned that what are really our needs and our wants. I think we all lived on we really cut to the bone and just kind of like live on the essence. So I think that's fantastic. Please do spend the time. I always find it a fantastic time to sort of do do a review of the year and, about your own goals. I think it's fantastic to set out, I set out my goals into three. One is my personal goals. And one of my personal goals is sleep at 12:30, to be in bed by 12:30 every night instead of 1:30 in the morning. And then to set professional goals as well, what I want to do professionally. But last but not least, I think the third one is to set your financial goal as well. And remember, put that money aside for savings and investment first, and only then you look at all the other expenses. Okay, great. We will email you the link, but I think we can, Felicia, we can just before it goes off, if you could just put the link to the folder.
Yeah, I think Chun has done that.
All right,
Yes.
He has shared it. Yeah.
Okay, can we just put the link again, I guess, at the bottom, and I think then we can say goodbye to everyone.
Yeah.
Great, fantastic. Thank you, Chun, for putting that up. We won't. So there's the link over there. We'll also email it to you. Remember, download it. Don't try edit it, because you can't. Otherwise, I can see your budget if you did that. So. All right.
Download and keep it safely in your own your own Google Drive.
And share it with your family. I think that's a good thing to do. It is a family budget, so share it with your spouse, so both of you can can work together on it.
Those with grown-up or rather growing children, please help your children to set their own budget. Sit down and get them to do it, and then and that will be you give them the allowance and you ask them to do it. Start them young. You'll be surprised. It goes a long way, because I did that for my daughter as well. I told her, I said, holidays you don't get allowance because you don't go to school. So she says, how am I going to earn? I said, okay, you do housework, you don't get allowance, because both of us stay in the house. I'm a single parent. I said, we both stay in the house, we dirty it, we clean it. You don't get paid for cleaning your own mess. So I said, okay, I will give you work. I'll pay you market value. But if you don't, your work is not up to standard, I will sack you. And I've done that before. So today, I can fast forward. Today, she learns to invest her money. She'll call me from Australia and say, Mom, what stocks? I'm looking at these stocks. What do you think? And then she sent me all the links. And then I say, Mommy is practicing financial planning without license in Australia. But yes, please do that with your children. It goes a long way. I do not worry about my daughter and her old age, because when I share this with her and I see her apply in her real life, it's really very heartwarming for me. I know when I die tomorrow, I don't have to worry about my daughter.
That's
so
really
there
good.
you go.
This is strong feeling. SS here asks, when is it necessary to get a financial planner? Actually, what's your answer to that, Linnet?
If you find that you have time to do it for yourself and you understand a lot of things and you have time to do research, it's okay to do. But you can also get a financial planner, not necessarily to do for you, but you can seek a second opinion and pay them a small fee for it. Yeah. All right. Okay. How do you work a financial planner? It's very simple. If you really have no time, it's not that you don't know, but you really want to have more quality time with your children, then you will engage a financial planner. And it goes a long way. Or if, as I said earlier, if you think you know how to do it, but you want a second opinion, some financial planners will charge you a coaching fee, so you only pay when you consult them. That will also be a very good one to look at. Okay, yeah. And if you go to smartfinance.my, there's about 107 listed licensed financial planners. These people are not only licensed, they are fully certified. You can actually chat with them first before you decide. But if you want to buy your insurance, please go and buy from FiLife, okay? They have very good deals there. This is how you can do. Start talking to them first, and then you decide whether you want to work with one or you want to consult one for coaching session. Okay?
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. And I just, in terms of rates, I think, generally, I think, remember that first consultation usually is gratis, it's free. And then you can ask them, just ask them a direct question, how much does it cost? And I think you'll be surprised. Some, it ranges, between 2,000 to 3,000 around there for some. Others are a bit more expensive, but just ask them the direct question. Don't be Asian about it, right? And,
yeah, don't be Asian.
Don't be Asian. Just ask a direct question. And for us, Yeah.
Sorry.
Go on, Linnet, you saying?
And it's cheaper than making financial mistakes.
Yeah, that's right. And for Fire Life, I think if you are thinking about basically protecting your family, and that's the reason why we do this. The reason why we do this is to say, look, doing your financial goals and all that. But if the worst thing happens, and and you're no longer around, right? How can you protect your family? And to us, that's the best way is just to have very, very simple life insurance, which is really, 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 really cheap. You don't buy it for investment. You don't buy it for cash value. You just buy it. It's just simply basic stuff. You pay 1 million ringgit for 1 million ringgit if something happens to your family, right? So the premiums for that varies according to your age. For a 32-year-old woman, it costs about 100 ringgit a month for a $1 million ringgit policy for your family if something happens to you, right? So
Yeah.
that's the reason why we do this. And so on. Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you very much. You can use your promo code if you are buying Fire Life. It's hello 2021. Thank you very much for attending the session.
Yes.
Happy New Year to all.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you once again to Linnet and Malek for the session. Happy New Year, everyone. Hope you have a good night. Do rest well and take care. We'll see you in 2021.